It's cruise day, maybe the three most exciting words in any cruiser's vocabulary. Cruise day, the day that we get on the cruise ship. Embarkation day, the day that our vacation begins. Man, I tell you what, I love cruise day, but cruise day can also be one of the most soul-crushing, disappointing days ever. Some of the biggest lines I've ever encountered have been on embarkation day. Those lines can sometimes suck away the joy of cruise day. We're going to talk about those soul-crushing lines on embarkation day and possibly how you can avoid them right after this. Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido, Loca. Welcome to the YouTube channel. If you're brand new here and you love cruising, cruise ships, cruise tips, cruise news, anything cruise related, we would invite you to subscribe to the Lido, Loca YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell and track along with us. That way you get notified for all of our new videos. Now on to, I don't know where the story is, on to the story. Cruise day, we all love cruise day, but we hate those cruise day embarkation lines. I'm going to tell you 6 lines you may encounter on cruise day and possibly how to avoid them. Line number 1 is the line to the parking structure at the cruise port. Now, a lot of people like to park at the cruise port. You have quick access to get on the cruise ship, quick access to get off the cruise ship. The only thing that can hinder that quick access is everybody else doing the same thing. I remember our first cruise experience at the Port of Mobile down there in Alabama, and there was a significant line of people trying to self-park. And then compounding that, a train came and blocked all the traffic. So the line that was already long got super long, and we saw a lot of unhappy faces waiting to park at the Port of Mobile. Now, one way that you can avoid the long line trying to self-park at the cruise port is to use some sort of shuttle service. Park your car somewhere away from the cruise port and then take a shuttle. A lot of times those shuttle services are offered by hotels as part of a parking cruise package, or you can even find a parking lot where you can park your car and take a shuttle in. Tell you what, I was so satisfied in Mobile because we had one of those park and cruise packages and we were able to take the shuttle and drive right to where you drop your luggage off. Potentially that could have been super stressful. The second line that you're likely to encounter on embarkation day is the line to actually check into your cruise. Now, many cruise lines have worked hard to make this process as streamlined as possible by assigning people check-in times, by offering different priority services, but sometimes you just show up at the cruise port and the line to get into the cruise terminal is massive. We had this situation when we cruised out of Port Canaveral on the Oasis of the Seas. A few things had transpired that morning, and all of a sudden almost everybody was going to the cruise terminal at the same time, and we got stuck in this massive line just trying to get into the cruise terminal. Now, there's a couple ways to avoid this kind of line. Going later is a good strategy. We've tried that a couple times on our Princess cruise. We went 2-3 o'clock, no line. Another way that we've avoided these lines is we paid for priority boarding. Primarily on Carnival, they offer a service called Faster to the Fun. You can pay some extra money, and that allows you a special line. You can skip all of the big lines. You can jump right in and get on the cruise ship. And another popular way to skip that embarkation day check-in line is to stay loyal to one cruise line. Many cruise lines will give a perk to their frequent cruisers, people who put in a lot of days on their cruise line, and that is priority embarkation. So if you do the time, if you have enough loyalty with a cruise line, part of those perks will be to skip the embarkation line and have priority boarding. So you've made it through check-in, all the hassle's done, no more worries about security, you're on the cruise ship, and boom! You're kind of already hit with another line. It's really fun to get on the cruise ship. That excitement continues to build. However, if you have to go anywhere other than where you just walked in at, most of the time it's going to require an elevator. And the elevators on embarkation day are a disaster. Well, at least the closest elevator to where people come onto the cruise ship. It's only natural when you get on the cruise ship, if you want to go up to the buffet and have your lunch, if you have some sort of priority where you can go to your room, you just want to jump on an elevator and go there. And which elevator should we jump on? Well, let's jump on the ones that are right next to where we came in. The only problem is everybody thinks like that. The way you can get around this is find the other elevators. Most cruise ships have multiple sets of elevators, 2-3 sets of elevators. And so if you walk in and you notice that the closest elevators are jam-packed full of people, which trust me, they will be, all you gotta do is walk to the forward or to the aft of the cruise ship and find another set of elevators. Much of the time, you will find these elevators less crowded and it will be a lot easier. Hey, the stairs are also an option, but if you're walking around with your carry-on luggage and you're not much of a stair person anyways, the thing that you're gonna have to do to avoid that big glut of elevator traffic by the main elevators is find an alternate elevator. They're there. Not everybody takes that pass, so it could be one way to keep your stress level down and avoid some of those big elevator lines. The next line that you're going to encounter, and I'm going to tell you this one's probably a madhouse. A lot of people get on the cruise ship and the first thing they want to do is go to the buffet and get some food. The buffet has the potential to be a madhouse. Everybody is going there. It's cruise day. Everybody is going there to get that first meal, so you may hit the buffet and it may be jam-packed. A way that you can avoid that buffet line is familiarize yourself with what other food options may be available on your cruise ship on embarkation day. For example, on the MSC Seaside that we just came off of, we knew that the main buffet was on deck 8, but we also knew that there was a smaller buffet on deck 16 and that both of them had lunch for embarkation. So we avoided going to deck 8, which I assume was a madhouse. We went right up to deck 16. We were able to find a table and we were able to enjoy a meal without much stress. This is true for many cruise ships. Do some research on the cruise ship that you're going on and see if there's an alternative place to have lunch other than the main buffet. Another thing that you can do is ask a crew member. Find a crew member when you get on board and just ask them what venues are serving lunch, and they could probably even tell you which ones are the least crowded. Use that resource. Find a place to go eat where you're not going to be fighting for seating, where you're not going to be elbow to elbow trying to get your food, and where your stress level's going to be going up. You can avoid some of that stress by finding an alternative place to eat lunch. Now this one I don't have any personal experience with. I reached out to the good folks at the Lido Loca cruising community, our Facebook group. We'd invite everybody to come over there and join. It's a wealth of cruising knowledge. Ask the question, what is it like if you have kids on embarkation day and you need to get checked in to the kids club so that you can take your kids there from time to time during the cruise? Now the responses I got were great. I heard a few things that were significant. If you just show up with your kid and you haven't done anything else, there could potentially be a line that you have to wait in to get your child checked in. This does not seem like the approach that you want to take. Can you imagine a significant amount of kids waiting in line with their parents trying to get checked in when all this other sensory thing is going on around them getting on a cruise ship? Many folks said that cruise lines will allow you to pre-register your child. So by pre-registering, you can avoid the line of people who have yet to register their kid and just go to the section where you can check your kid in. I've heard things as little as walk in, walk out, 5-10 minutes. Seems like a lot better way than standing in a huge line trying to keep your kid calm while you get everybody registered and checked in. So another line that is just bonkers on embarkation day is the guest services line. There's a few reasons to go to guest services on embarkation day. When you get on the cruise ship, you may have a set of expectations because you pre-ordered a drink package or Wi-Fi or maybe some decorations to your room. A big one is you may want to use cash instead of the credit or debit card that you use to secure your shipboard account. A lot of important things happen on embarkation day, and a lot of people want everything to be just right before their cruising experience starts, and that means there's going to be a huge line at customer service. I had an experience recently on the MSC Seaside where we were trying to get our internet to work and it didn't, and I felt really motivated to have that internet working before sail away, and so I went to guest services and stood in one of these huge lines for 45 or 50 minutes, and I missed a lot of stuff. I missed ships sailing out of the port of Miami, and all I did was stand in line. I did make a video about that. If you want to check it out, there'll be a link right there or in the description below. But one way that you can avoid the guest services line is just to wait a little bit. I know it's hard because you want to get everything just right. You want to get your vacation kicked off right. However, standing in that line is not the way to start your vacation. If you have an issue that can wait a couple hours till after the muster drill, till after the ship actually begins to sail away, you're going to find the lines at guest services a lot less and a lot less stressful. I would even recommend waiting till this next line forms to go to guest services, because a lot of people are not going to be in the guest services line. They're going to be in this next line. So the next line that I'm talking about is the line for the main dining room on the first night. Most cruise lines have 3 dining times. They have an early dining time, a late dining time, time and in any dining time. If you have an early dining time on Embarkation night and you go right when the main dining room opens, I can almost guarantee there will be a huge line. We like to get places early. We usually go 5 minutes early, and it's a huge line. And those 5 minutes of waiting in that huge line can be super stressful. I think a lot of people like to go to the main dining room on the first night just to check it out, just to see what it is. That seems to be the only night that we've encountered these huge lines. But what we started doing now, instead of getting to the main dining room 5 minutes early on the first night, we'll show up about 5 minutes after the start time, and usually you can walk right in. They do a great job of, knocking that line out as soon as the restaurant opens, but if you are standing in it, it will be stressful. So the tip here really is, if you're not eating at the main dining room on the first seating and you know what time that is a good time to go to guest services, because the lines will most likely be less over there because a lot of people are queuing up at the main dining room. Look, folks, it's that cruise life. We want to have the most fun possible with the least stress possible, and sometimes there's some pain points. Lines on Embarkation Day can be a pain point where it starts to move the needle from excitement all the way over to stressful. Hopefully these tips will help you avoid some of that stress on Embarkation Day, where we can say, woohoo, it's cruise day without much stress. Question for the comments: what are some tips that you would suggest for avoiding the stress on Embarkation Day? Lines or no lines, just stress in general? Leave a comment below, keep the conversation going, hit the like button, respond to somebody else, and don't forget to subscribe to the Lido Loca YouTube channel. Again, this is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, see you on the Lido.